Hi, Andrew here, and today I'm free to deal with Michael Khan's wind farms yet again. Now, just a quick reminder, it all started when Michael went and filmed the wind farms off the coast of Skegness in England. He found a bit too much curve, he believed, and therefore debunked the globe. I was easily able to work out what he was actually looking at, and sure enough, it all matched what would be expected. Whereas Wally also did a good debunk as well, and I actually helped Wally on some of the finer details of that. And for about 2 weeks, Khan and Flatzoid have been promising a response to that where they would show that Wally was completely wrong and just making up maths. And well, we finally got it. Now let's have a look at it and I'll provide some commentary and some information. So what's coming up is Flatzoid's response, which includes a bit of Wally's response, which includes some of Michael's original video. So there's a lot of different sources in amongst all this, but let's get going.
Khan, these are the turbines you're looking for.
This is just an optical effect. We know there's no Earth curve. We know there's no globe. But it's just arrogance of Wally and his indoctrination, and sew up himself. So I thought I'd cover this. I've got my own observation from a wind farm in Skegness on East Coast. Similar effect. Look like they're hidden.
Oh, very good, Khan. So nice of you to invite me to peer review your observations and analysis.
Okay, I'm going to skip through a little bit of this. It's Michael's original video, and off we go to some of the main observation.
Oh, great. From those 6 turbines and the substation, we can work out exactly where you were on the beach and the angle at which you were observing from.
Yes, that's correct.
Great!
Okay.
And indeed, that's what Wally and I did. Thanks to this information here provided, these are the charts of the wind farms showing a map of, a chart of where all the turbines are, and that's in the Dowsing, the Lynn, and the Lynx wind farm, and conveniently providing all the latitude and longitude of the boundaries of the farm and all the turbines in there, as well as that substation in the middle. And here we go. And here we are. I'll just turn off those ones. I don't need them for the moment. And here they are on Google Earth, the extent of the inner 3 wind farms and the all-important Racebank wind farm out in the distance. Okay, let's go on.
Let's stop this here. Let me go and show you, Wally, why you are a total clown who just makes idiotic assumptions and creates maths to suit his idiotic assumptions. While, like I said before, I don't even need to even say anything other than play a video that debunks you. But just because you've been begging me for the last week and a half, here you go, Where's Wally? Your destruction. I hope you're going to concede your fault and, well, apologize to Khan and myself for your total disregard of reality. We'll first start off with this, the substation, Wally. This is the reference to know where you are and what wind farms you are looking exactly about. Let's see if you can pay attention, Wally. What is going on here?
Now, this is the first indication that Flatzoid doesn't seem to have watched or paid much attention to the videos that Wally and I did, because he's about to completely agree with our assessment of where Michael was standing and which way he was looking.
So we start off with Wally. You are here. Do you see those words written in white with this big red screeching out block? You are here. As far as I know, if a person is taking a photo and it says you are here, that means you are here.
And indeed, Flatzoid, we do not disagree with you. Here in my Google Earth plot of everything, we have Khan standing here next to Skegness Pier. Now, we've actually worked out that he was at one stage he was standing just here rather than about there. Not much real difference, honestly, between there and there. Maybe 50 to 100 metres, not really going to make any difference. So thanks, Flatzoid, for agreeing with us as to where he was standing. and we'll come up in a moment to see how we work that out. Michael did say he was standing to the left side of the pier. Some of the footage does show that he was actually standing to the right side. But again, the amount of difference it makes is not very much.
So obviously he knows where he was and where he took the photos. Now, in relation to what I was just talking about, the substation, look where the substation is, Wally. There's only one substation for the whole of Lynx Wind Farm. Oh boy, not a good start for you, is it?
Again, quite perplexing. We agree there's only one substation. We know the latitude and longitude of it. And we agree that Michael was standing around about Skegness Pier, give or take 50 metres. Again, you agree with us. I'm not sure what the problem is. Now, I'm going to stop here and notice this metal pole with a ring on it. It's a little hazard marker, which sits just off the end of Skegness Pier, a tiny bit to the south of it. And that shows that Michael was standing between the pier and this marker, just a few metres south of the pier. And in Wally's video, he shows that I managed to find this location and find this actual marker. So no disagreement about where Michael was standing from anyone here.
Let's pause it there for a minute, shall we, Wally? What do you see? Would that be the substation we just spoke about? And then you see wind turbines. Let's see if you can count how many wind turbines there are.
Now, if we actually look at here, Michael down here at Skegness Pier, looking across to OSP2, that is the substation out amongst the Lynx wind farm, we see that some of these inner dowsing wind farm turbines are sitting nicely in front of it, and a couple of the Lynx ones here. So indeed, in a very narrow field of view here, you'll see a handful of quite close turbines. These ones here at the start of inner dowsing, the ID10 turbine, make of that name what you will, is about 6 kilometres away. The back of the farm here is about 8.5 of the inner dowsing wind farm. OSP, the substation, is about 10.5 kilometres away. And looking past at the back of the Lynx wind farm, it's about 12.5 kilometres away. So roughly speaking, 6 kilometres to the front of these, about 12 kilometres to the back of them, about twice the distance. Off we go.
Mitch, that guy's just got floated out from
There's me.
Now Michael's having a bit of trouble with the tripod. And we're about to get into some fairly clear footage of this boat travelling across. Now, just taking a note of the timestamp here where it hits going in front of this turbine, 4:27-ish.
Don't you just love how the boat is traveling across a horizontal horizon and not a curved physical horizon, as you put it, Wally? Also note that.
And about 13 seconds later, it arrives at in between these next two wind turbines. So about 13 seconds. Remember that for later.
The turbines in the background are succumbing to what we call perspective.
And about 15 seconds later, it comes near to the next turbine. Again, about 15 seconds. So about 13 seconds and 15 seconds between those two turbines. Remember those numbers for later.
Okay, let's stop it right there. What do you see here, Wally?
Well, you know what we do see here? We do see here a number of very large-looking turbines appearing to be relatively close and very, very clear to see. And in the background, we have a handful of much smaller looking turbines that are quite much harder to see. Now, interestingly, the turbines in the front wind farms, and in fact most of the wind farms in this area are approximately the same dimensions. Now, it's interesting that looking at the blade sizes, the apparent blade sizes on these ones here in the background are somewhere around about the quarter of the length of the ones in the foreground. Now, for a channel like with the name Flatzoid's Perspective, you should realise that should make them about 4 times the distance away.
Do you see these 3 wind turbines in the front there? Do you see they conform to perspective as they are converging to the convergence zone. So they appear to be going downwards to the horizon as the horizon is rising relative to the vanishing point. Note all the back turbines are past the limiting angle, so therefore you cannot see the bottoms of them as they are too far away. But that's not what I'm trying to show you here.
Well, a nice bit of word salad explanation there from Flatzoid. A lot of confidence in his voice there, but not seeming to provide a coherent explanation of what's going on.
What I'm going to show you here is a quick demonstration on why we see the turbines the way we do on a flat surface, not over a curve.
Now, this is quite perplexing. This is basically a kindergarten explanation of how things look as they move off into the distance. None of us disagree with this. As things move further away, they take up smaller angular size. And as things move further, points move further away, they converge towards the centre of your vision. No arguments here at all. And indeed, in looking at the turbines, just looking from a matter of perspective, we can know that the ones that are smaller are significantly further away. Not even looking into the factor of Earth curve, which makes the whole thing drop. So again, perspective makes things look smaller. Earth curve makes things look lower.
See now, Wally, I have here seven physically dropping. Go back to the
So skipped all of that. Nothing interesting there. So back to Flatzoid's devastating analysis.
quickly. I don't know if you noticed this. Where's Wally? Did you see that circular thing with the stake in it? Let me tell you why this is important.
Well, it shows us where Michael was standing, as I said before. And indeed, if we, hopefully it'll come up on this, if we zoom in here on Google Earth, we can see this object here casting a shadow. And that is indeed that little metal pole with the funny thing on top of it, which I believe is a hazard marker. There's some sort of object, some sort of equipment under the surface there, and it's just warning people that it's there. So that does show that Michael was standing somewhere around here, just to the right of the end of the pier. Now, somehow Flatzoid thinks that this is devastating and that we got it wrong, yet he agrees with us here that we got it right.
See, this stake here tells us where he is, and the substation's angle tells us where he is as well.
And agree. No argument from us as to where that substation is out here, and therefore which direction Michael is looking.
In relation to it, it tells us he's right next to the pier. Uh-oh. So, this is his observation point, you see, right next to the pier. Now, let's use those references. That would be right next to the pier, and it goes all the way to Lynx Farm. It is 7.38 miles. Ooh, the distance isn't looking too good for you right now, is it, Wally? No, but just in case you don't believe me, you see this.
So I'm just going to roll that back there a second. And I'd like to thank Flatzoid for leaving the coordinate grid on his view of Google Earth here, because we know with good accuracy where he has put this marker, where he is telling us that Lynx Wind Farm is. And why he's concerned that it's 7 miles away. Well, we agree, 7 miles, I don't know, about 11 or 12 kilometres. Don't disagree with him there. However, the direction he's facing at 86 degrees out to here, virtually straight off the coast, I'm not sure why he's chosen that point, because that is not the direction of the substation. So, as you can see here, this view is roughly the same. And let's just turn on. That is the point that Flatzoid picked as where the Lynx Wind Farm is. Now, I don't think he seems to understand that Lynx Wind Farm covers all this extent of quite a few kilometres. And he's chosen this point. And just to confirm that, we are going to place a line from here out to here, and sure enough, about 12 kilometres, 7 or so miles, and at about 86 degrees. So indeed, this is confirmed that this is the location that Flatzoid chose to decide where the Lynx Wind Farm was, and we've got a line there to connect it. Now, in actual fact, we can see that the substation And the wind farms, the wind turbines that even Khan says that he was looking at just near OSP2 are in this direction. Instead of being 86 degrees, we find that they are about 63 degrees. So I'm not sure why Flatzoid has decided that Wally is looking here about 20 degrees to the right, when Wally and I agreed Khan was standing here and looking towards this area here. So that needs some explanation, Flatzoid. Why have you chosen this location for the Lynx wind farm when the Lynx wind farm is this big and we know we are looking in this direction? Okay, it gets worse. Whoops, let's do that. Off we go. Sorry, that got paused. And off we go again.
And it goes all the way to Lynx Farm. It is 7.38 miles. Ooh, the distance isn't looking too good for you right now, is it, Wally? No, but just in case you don't believe me, you see this.
Interesting, Flatzoid has these locations in his My Places. Those are some of the markers he used for when Ruhif took him through Protothad's celestial navigation fix. Look up those locations and find out how far they are apart, and see how far Flatzoid was wrong with the Mercator and the AE projections compared to the actual reality.
This little line here, that is that reference we just showed. So you can see it's in his line of sight towards Lynx Farm. So you are totally wrong.
Right, so I'll take a screenshot there. Right, so as you can see, I've had to just adjust exposure and brightness a bit so you can see it a bit more clearly because it was quite murky.
Yep, standard practice. Good job.
And there you've got your wind turbines.
Just going to jump through some of this.
Curvature.
Oh, look, Khan, it's hidden by Earth curvature. Oh, you just said that, didn't you? Sorry, mate.
So, as promised, now we're going to have a look and see why
jump through some more of this again.
Turbine we're looking at. So I was stood at this side up here looking at.
And so here we have what Khan thinks he saw. He saw this boat apparently moving from the substation here across 3 of the turbines right next to it, out here at about 10 or 11 kilometres distance.
And we watched boat sailing from substation, and it went past 3 wind turbines,
and totally ignoring all these other closer wind turbines. Michael identified these ones as the very large ones the boat was near, and totally ignoring these ones that would be in the field of view of what he was looking at.
I stopped it just shortly after 3rd wind turbine.
Oh, Khan, if you had panned the camera from the green line to the red line, you would have counted around 20 turbines. So I'm sorry to say that where you're thinking you are not.
Oh boy, you just stepped in it now.
Okay, just going to roll back to that a little bit. Now, if you remember the boat earlier along, the boat travelled between those 2 turbines in about 13 to 15 seconds. Michael thinks that the boat was about here and travelled in between those in about 13 to 15 seconds. Now, going back to here, according to the official latitude and longitude locations of these turbines and the particular ones that Michael thinks he identified, they are about 700 metres apart. So we're going to pull up the calculator. We've got 700 metres. It travelled that distance in 13 seconds. That is 53 metres per second. Times it by 60, 3,230 metres per minute. And into more recognisable units, multiply by 60, we get 193,846 metres per hour. Now, Flatzoid, how many metres are there in a kilometre? You can get Hugh to help you work that one out if you want to. And Nathan, how do you convert metres to kilometres? Well, the answer is you divide it by 1,000. And if Michael was right about where that boat was, that boat was travelling at 193 kilometres an hour. Now, somehow I don't think that is possible. So let's keep going.
Oh boy, you just stepped in it now, didn't you? No, he knows exactly where he was. When he just said left side of the pier, this is where he was standing the first observation. Second observation, he was on the right side of the pier.
Again, the difference is about 100 metres. It's not going to make an awful lot of difference to what he's looking at.
Oh boy, Wally, you in Australia. He's actually where he says he was.
You're in the wrong place. Now, Flatzoid really should have caught that mistake, but he didn't.
Okay, where's Wally? Please excuse the crickets in the background because it is nighttime here.
So now we have Flatzoid's straw man. We have his pin for the Lynx wind farm, which is way too far south to where everyone agrees that Khan was looking at. And we have a pin for the Racebank wind farm. Again, thank you for leaving your coordinate grid on, Flatzoid. We can work out that your pin for the Racebank wind farm is about there somewhere. So that's not a bad guess. And there's a line looking out to it a little bit too far to the right of where Khan actually was looking, but kind of close. But still, why do you think that Wally was looking here when Wally and I both said that Khan was here and looking at over here? So, got that completely wrong, Flatzoid. What's your justification for using that point for the Lynx wind farm?
There we can see Racebank wind farm and we can see Lynx wind farm. You are claiming he's seeing Racebank's wind farm with his angle. Let's zoom into his position spot where he was doing the observation.
Sorry, I may have got that just a little bit wrong into what Flatzoid is claiming, but he's about to make it quite clear what he thinks Wally and I are claiming and what he thinks is actually going on.
Let's turn a bit so we can see what's going on. Oh boy, what do we see here, Wally? What's going on? On the right, Lynx Farm, wind farm. And on the left, Racebank, wind farm. You claiming he's looking out this way, when in matter of fact, he's looking out this way.
Okay, there we have it clearly. Flatzoid is claiming that Michael was looking out here, which, as we've decided, is way down here. So he's claiming that Michael, in panning his camera, moved all the way from here over 20 degrees to the right to this point here. Whereas Michael is claiming that he was looking from here and only about 3 turbines across when he was following that boat. So Flatzoid is wrong to suggest that Michael was looking out here because Michael doesn't even claim that himself.
Let's put on screen quickly what we're seeing with the still shot of the substation with the wind turbines. Can you see the wind turbines in the substation? Yeah. Which way are those wind turbines situated to the substation? Where's Wally? To the right. Okay. So that means as he pans to the right, he gets to see the other wind turbines from Lynx Farm.
So now in moving around in Google Earth, Flatzoid has gone about another 20 degrees to the right, which if we go back to here, would actually have Khan looking somewhere way off to the end of Lynx wind farm. Quite a number of wind turbines to the right of where he was actually looking. So now that Flatzoid has completely misidentified much of what's going on here, he's going to claim he's right and that Wally and I are wrong. And at no point also has he told us what maths Wally has made up.
Not Racebank. So I suggest you rather concede and say, yep, you got it wrong. You created maths to suit your narrative because it didn't comport with reality. Mate, your globe is a fantasy.
And there we go. So Flatzoid got it wrong. He even disagreed with what Michael thought, and Michael got it wrong as well. So in actual fact, Michael was looking from here across to OSP2, and considering how much zoom he gets on that Nikon Coolpix, his field of view as he moved across really was only very small like that. And whilst he was doing that, the Racebank wind farm completely in his field of view in the background. And again, a reminder that those distant turbines that are very hard to see, their blades appeared to be about a quarter of the length of the much larger turbines here. Reminding you again that this area is about 6 to 12 kilometres away from shore, and this area back here is about 35 to 40 kilometres away from shore. So about 4 times to 5 times the distance. Perspective alone, thanks Flatzoid's perspective, would dictate that the blades would look about a quarter of the size, and Earth curve would dictate that about half of the height of the tower would be hidden behind the curve of the Earth, which indeed is what we saw. So Flatzoid, explain why you chose this location, and explain why the turbines that we've decided that are about 4 or 5 times the distance away appear to be about a quarter of the size. Okay, that's all. Thanks for watching. Like, share, and subscribe. Do all that YouTube stuff. See you later. Okay, so just a little addendum here to summarize what was going on, because it can get a bit confusing. So staying down here in Skegness and Skegness Pier, we have the metal pole, which is our little marker to identify that Michael was standing somewhere about here on the beach, looking a little bit north of east. Now, at some points in the video, Flatzoid claims that Michael was up here a little bit, and the signboard that Michael filmed to show the map of the wind turbines is somewhere along this promenade area. Not too sure where, but based on the map itself, it is somewhere between the pier and the lifeboat shed down here. So all in all, Michael was somewhere in this area, may have been a little bit to the north, a little bit to the south, won't really have made much difference. Now, based on the charts of these wind farms, we have, just offshore, we have the Inner Dowsing, the Lynn and the Lynx wind farm, and a bit further offshore, we have the Racebank wind farm. Now, we all agree that at the start, Michael was looking towards this substation called OSP2, so looking in this direction of that yellow line. Now, Michael claims that he followed the boat as it went south from that substation past 24, 25, 26, almost towards 27 when he paused his video. So I'll put a yellow line there showing the extent that Michael claims that he panned between. Just going to remove those to clear up the screen a little bit. Now, late on in the video, in Flatzoid's video, he put these two lines up, and this line here is the one that is going out to his pin for where the Lynx wind farm is. Now, the Lynx wind farm is not just one location, it's an extent of locations, and for some reason he decided to put this pin out here, pretty much straight east off the coast. And saying that Michael was actually looking in this direction and panning somewhat to the right. Now, just completely contradicting his earlier agreement that Michael was standing here at the pier and looking towards OSP2. So I'm not sure what if Flatzoid realised that he is just contradicting himself. And Flatzoid's other line going out here is the one which actually is fairly correct towards the race. That's his pin for the Racebank wind farm. We'll just put another black line out there showing what that is. So at the end of the video, again in this section, Flatzoid is saying that Wally says that Michael is looking out towards here, and in actual fact, Michael is actually looking out here and looking to the right. So completely getting it all wrong, because even Michael didn't claim he was looking down here. Michael claimed he was looking here between the yellow lines. However, we can get a little bit more exact about where Michael actually was looking, and here is a shot of the wider view, showing again the metal stake there, and some of the turbines that I've managed to identify. These ones I wasn't 100% sure on, but I'm pretty sure that they're right, and this is showing where the boat was travelling through Michael's video. So if we pick ID 29 and put that on the map, oops, there's the line to it, there's the actual turbine. So for all the zoomed in section of Michael following the boat, he was actually only going between this upper yellow line and not even as far to the right as this orange line. So a lot of contradictory things from Flatzoid, and neither of them seem to actually have worked out where Michael was looking. And again, Flatzoid hasn't told us about what maths he says that keeps saying that Wally was inventing to fit his narrative. So thanks yet again. See you later.